This is me riding a mechanical bull. You'll remember this image for the rest of the day. 2 years ago, I went to an electric vehicle show, and if you've ever been to an electric vehicle show, you'll notice one thing. It's pretty much you seeing the same Tesla Model S in different colors over and over again, and it's no different from going to a Tesla service center where you get to see the same broken Tesla Model S over and over again in different colors, except this gray one, it's actually kind of sexy. But at the end of that same car show that I went to, after that random guy that keeps doing that stupid thing with his Model X that makes the doors go up and down, like we haven't all seen it before, a guy brought one of the most fascinating cars I've ever seen in person. I wasn't sure what kind of car it was at first, but then he pulled into the parking spot while not using his turn signals, and I knew immediately it was certainly a BMW. Yes, boys and girls, the infamous BMW i8. It looks like a car from the future until I looked the specs up online and I got the most confused erection ever. It's powered by a very bizarre setup. Up front, there's 140 horsepower and 180 pound-feet of torque produced by a small electric motor mated to a 2-speed automatic transmission. Now out back, there's a 3-cylinder, 1.5-liter turbo making 230 horsepower and 240 pound-feet of torque connected to a 6-speed transmission. It's basically a Prius wearing Lamborghini skin, but it gets about 76 combined miles per gallon. It's also likely the most underwhelming car in BMW's lineup. And the price? Well, the price is $150,000 and ain't nobody paying that. So I hopped in my Cam Z06, left the car show, and drove off into the sunset. But the damn thing started growing on me. It looks so futuristic, and it's one of the few concept cars where the production version looks exactly the same. It's lightweight, carbon fiber body, and one of the only supercars that's also a plug-in hybrid. The only other one is the Ferrari SF90 for $600,000 or the Porsche 918 for $900,000 used. And I don't have that kind of money. Why do I want an i8 all of a sudden? Well, I want to buy an i8 for the same reason why people buy Pugs. No, they aren't gorgeous. No, they aren't really good at anything except breathing heavily around the house like tiny obese people, but it's unusual and adorable. Even though every day it counts down the seconds to its inevitable death through some horrific genetic disorder through reckless breeding for the last 2,000 years. Jeremy Clarkson chose it over the BMW M4, Chris Harris enjoyed it, and Doug DeMiro says it looks like it's giving birth to a Porsche 911. And you know what? I don't have to justify why I want an i8, okay? Some people drive Chevy SSRs, Plymouth Prowlers, and Pontiac Aztecs. I've had V8 sports cars my whole life. The Z06 isn't going anywhere. I already have a Tesla, so let's see if I can add an electric sports car to the stable. My goal is to make an electric car that's worthy of SEMA, because quite frankly, there isn't much of a presence at SEMA just yet for EVs. Let's try to find an i8, shall we? If I go to IAA.com and type in i8, let's see how much I can get a wrecked one for. The car goes normally for about $150,000 new, and prices hover around the $60,000 to $65,000 mark for a used one, so the depreciation is heavy. Let's try to beat that price by a wide margin. If I go to IAA, there's actually a few on here that are flooded. This one's funny because it actually still has water from the flood in it, but I'd rather not get into another flooded car until I finish my Flood Model X build, which is coming to a close. Looking at the options available, there's an orange Roadster, and quite frankly, I wouldn't be caught dead in an orange Roadster because I look really stupid getting in and out of convertibles.
Oh, yeah. Really? I got faith.
Oh, yeah.
So what, River?
So I decided to go with one that needed some body work, but something I could do in my basement. I finally settled on this gem. I bid on it, got it for a steal because it doesn't run or drive. So when I actually got the car, there's definitely some rear damage, but what I didn't realize that there was actually some pretty bad front damage as well, which wasn't as obvious from the photos. So it looks like I need a new hood, the passenger side nostril is cracked, the driver's side nostril is cracked. I don't want to venture into gluing these back together if possible, so I'm likely just going to replace them. The front bumper doesn't look too bad, but I'll likely be keeping that. Also, there's a small crack in the fender. The fenders are plastic, so it shouldn't be too hard to have that repaired. And now the hood is much worse than I thought, based on the photos in the auction. So that's going to have to be replaced altogether. As you can see, there's some heavy rear damage to the car, and my biggest fear is damage to the carbon fiber body. So I'm going to check that out, and it actually doesn't seem to be too bad. The great thing is that everything in the car seems to be bolted on. So in more complex scenarios on a normal car, you'd have to rivet, weld, and glue the new pieces onto the rear quarter panel, but in this case it seems like there's just plastic carrier that holds the fender in place, and both pieces screw into the body of the car. But just in case, I'm going to go to a site that I usually go to before buying a car. I usually go to eManual online, and it's great because there's tons of manuals you can get on here. So I'm going to go to the BMW section and find the manual I need, and in a matter of minutes I have access to the repair manuals for the car. I'll show you guys a closer look at how that all looks in the next episode, but I just checked, and you could actually get Tesla manuals on here as well. But either way, make sure you check out that site in the description below. Go to emanualonline.com. If you need a manual, check one out there. So now I got to work on the car and I started removing broken body pieces, and this is what the car looks like when it's exposed.
What do we have here?
This is it, friend. This is the car I've been lusting after for the past like 2 years. Remember we went to that EV event together 2 years ago? Mm-hmm. And I saw that i8 there. I'm just like, I gotta have that damn thing. Everyone's just like, no, you don't want it. It's slow. It's ugly. All it is it's a Prius with a Lamborghini body on top of it, pretty much. But I didn't even care. I wanted it anyway. So this is the one that I got. The second this thing rolled up, I was just like, I gotta have this. Look, check this out. Look at this. Oh, you got your fancy blue seat belts right here. It looks like an exotic. And this thing was dirt cheap. You have an entire carbon fiber chassis here. No, it's not as fast as a lot of the supercars out there, but I knew I just wanted one. I knew I wanted a hybrid. I knew I wanted something cool looking, and this fits the bill for both. Obviously, it has some damage. This isn't even the primary damage, but the hood got smacked a little bit in the front. Taking this off, you get a good view for what's underneath it. I haven't even fired this thing up as yet. This is the battery. It's been sitting here for ages. That's definitely dead. There's dust and inch stink all over this thing. It needs a lot of help. You know, this air duct is broken. Everything's cracked up front. One of the headlights is missing. And I was looking at online, I think there's a certain version that has the laser headlights, and the laser headlights used are $5 grand a pop. That's a problem too.
What kind of lasers do they shoot?
I have no idea. Tire and knee got torn off the car. Kind of cool how the carbon fiber is exposed, but this is the majority of the damage we're looking at here. This brake caliper needs to be replaced. This subframe right here, you know, that aluminum tab got kicked in. The one on the other side also got kicked in. The axle got pulled out as well. So I gotta attempt to pull that out, pull that axle out, get a new shaft, put it in there. I'm not really sure how much parts cost for this car yet. I probably should look that up beforehand, but I guess we're gonna find out pretty soon.
What the hell is that?
This right here, this is the interesting part. That, I thought it was part of the exhaust system, but after looking at it, there's no connection to the exhaust system whatsoever. That's actually a subwoofer. So it's a subwoofer for the fake exhaust system. So they actually pumped fake exhaust noises outside of the car, which is great. It's unheard of, but yeah, I mean, most manufacturers pump fake noises in the car, which this one does as well. But literally, they're pumping fake noise outside of the vehicle, which kind of blows my mind. But the doors are cool. You can't beat the doors. The doors are cool. I'm trying to figure out, can I get into this car? And I was asking this earlier, and not look like a douchebag. All right, you watch. So I'm gonna try to get in, and I look like one. Ugh. I can barely do it. Ready?
Imagine if you were wearing a skirt.
Oh my gosh. That wasn't bad, actually. That wasn't bad, right?
No.
I didn't look that bad. This is where you charge it. So this is a plug-in hybrid. A lot of supposed cars that are hybrids are not plug-in hybrids. This one's actual plug-in hybrid, which is actually kind of neat. I would say these cars are arguably more complex than the Tesla, because you have electric motor and you have a gas motor. It's all-wheel drive. You have to figure out how they work together. I mean, this thing's got to be a maintenance nightmare. It's a cool thing to have. So I'm excited to fix it. Just finish it and drive it, you know? Assuming I finish it. Gus! What's up? How did God they're not broken?
Those aren't cheap.
No.
Those are nice, actually.
They're really cool.
Nice,
The hinges are cool.
Yeah. What are you guys doing?
We're
Shooting a porno?
Steve wants
I'm all in. I got my blue pills. I go get them.
Nice, yeah, please. Please do.
Now, the inside of the car is in great condition. Everything is clean. A little dusty, but that's just because the window is about 1/4 of an inch down from when it was sitting in the yard. Now, with the exception of this dead giant moth, I'd say this interior is 9 out of 10 for a salvage vehicle. No airbags went off, which makes my life that much easier. So now remember, I had the grand opening for the electrified garage in a couple of days, and I wanted this same car that I bought to be on display. Now, unfortunately, the car doesn't run or drive, so it has to be picked up everywhere like a newborn. Let's move this thing out of here and onto the showroom for the electrified garage grand opening. You should start your own YouTube channel
I know.
and become a freaking billionaire.
Is that what you do? Is YouTube?
No, I'm not a billionaire, but I do YouTube, yeah. How long have you been doing this for?
This, only a year.
Is it your company?
Yeah.
Nice.
I own a landscaping company.
You look young as too, because I was looking around. Most of the tow truck drivers look like they're falling apart.
Yeah, they're all
They're like old and like a beat bag. You're like
Yeah.
young and fresh, man. So we drove the 30 minutes to the event, and this is how we unloaded the car. Brilliantly. Active?
So we have to lift it up?
We brought jacks. We can pump it up.
Okay, so we'll jack it up.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like the Jaguar then.
Good? Everybody's good?
Perfect.
We're off. We're off. We're off.
We're definitely off.
The grand opening went very well, and we had a blast. Over 1,000 people signed up for the event, and here's a quick preview of that. Now the next day, it was much easier to load up.
Is he gonna make it over there, you think? You're good, good, clear. All right, we got it on?
Yeah, we do.
Finally, it's time to bring this bad girl home. It got dropped off at my house. I got it off the trailer somehow and managed to get it into my garage using less than savory methods. But it's time to get back to the basics. The next time this car comes out of the garage, it's going to be running and driving, and over the next few episodes, we're both going to get to know this car pretty well. Now, before we close, a few shout-outs to my new Patreons this week, Paul and Brian. And speaking of Patreons, you know I promised you guys the Patreon random crap from Rich's Basement giveaway. The 3 things I'm giving away this month to my Patreons are this leather Tesla key holder. If you don't have a Tesla, you could fit a very small amount of drugs in it. Number 2 is this Casio G-Shock watch that I wore twice and realized I wasn't cool enough to pull off a G-Shock. And lastly, this J1772 adapter, courtesy of my friend Joel in Canada. Don't forget to catch me on Instagram at RichieBKid, and I will see you all soon with the next installment of the Bmw I8 series. See ya!